Today I'm going to be featuring blue pink duochrome eyeshadows for comparison, such as blue green brown, the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb sparkle shades, red eyeshadows, and I believe there was one or two other ones. And some of these products I did receive in PR. It's definitely a very common type of shade, but there are so many nuances across different brands. We have a lot of indie brands, but we also have some more mainstream such as Too Faced as well as Pat McGrath. So let's start swatching. First up is Devinah Cosmetics Cream Puff Cuddles. This one definitely is a bit more opaque and it's ultra sparkly, really fine pigment. And I'm not swatching these in any particular order, just trying to get as many as possible per swatch per arm. Next up is Dazzling. This is from the Simply Posh Aurora Lights palette. This one is very, very bright, strong pink, and I see it shifting actually a little bit to purple as well. And this one does feel like it's a little bit harder pressed, a little bit more thicker to the swatch. There is a nuance difference between the bases. This one's definitely much more of a truer, brighter magenta pink. Next up is Creativity. This is from the Ultraviolet collaboration palette from Bella Beaute Bar and Deandra Nicole. This one for sure looks quite similar to the previous shade in terms of the tone of the pink, and it does have like a lighter pink purple shift, but in texture it does feel a bit different. It's not as thick, and it's definitely really bright pink, heavily very bright pink base. Next up is Messier 2.0. I feel like this one for sure has a bit more of a obvious purple shift, and the blue tone of the blue straight on is a little bit different. And this one is a little bit more on the flaky side and definitely more opaque. But I feel like this one, out of all of these, leans a little bit more purple. My shade is Lost in Space. I feel like this one reminds me particle size of the Devinah shade Sparkle Level as well, but in color it does remind me of Creativity. And this one is, yeah, it's definitely kind of similar to that one. And it's really bright, almost leaning maybe slightly reddish. Astral shade from the Utopian Dream palette. I forget what this one is called, but this one has an extremely PC texture, much more of a sheer wash of sparkle, but can be built up but kind of to an extent, so you can see quite a bit different for sure in texture out of all these. The driest here is Glacier's Mark, and this is from Clionadh. I feel like this one, it's not as much of a true pink base. There's definitely a bit of plum in there. And this one could be shared out, but it's very similar. I did do a comparison to the Utopian Dream eyeshadow. I did a dedicated video if you wanted to see that one. So you can see quite a bit of blue and purple in this one. Next up is Abalone. This one is from Bella Beaute Bar, and I don't remember off the top of my head which palette this is from, so I'll put it up on the screen. And this one has like a lighter pink base. Very similar to the Utopian Dream shade, but not at all in texture whatsoever. The shade is a little bit thicker to swatch. Here is Spotlight from Clionadh Cosmetics. This one is a cooler toned, lighter pink. A lot less sparkly, much more of a smooth pigment, not very opaque. Very cooler tone. This next shade is also from Clionadh, and it's from one of their mini quads from the limited edition holiday quad from 2024. And this one is more of a truer, brighter pink. I'm going to add a little bit more. So you can see quite a bit of a difference. I would say it's definitely also more sparkly. This next shade is from Bella Beaute Bar. I'm having trouble reading the name of it on the back of the pen, so I will put up on the screen. But this one is from an eyeshadow palette. I believe it's from the Dead Roses palette. So this one is definitely more similar to like Glacier's Mark and the Pat McGrath shade. And it's like a very much lighter pink. Here's Marshmallow Pillows, and this is from Devinah. And this one is much lighter than Cream Puff Cuddles, and it also has a bit less sparkle. It's more like a smoother shade. I've also had this one for a bit, so that could contribute, but it's very similar to the shade from Bella Beaute Bar. So this next shade is the Disco Crush from Too Faced in Show Off, and I actually don't see the blue reflect that I thought I saw in it, so I don't think it's really close at all. But it does have like a cooler tone, lighter pink base, but I actually feel like the Reflect is more of like a light cream. And here they are all together. See quite a bit of nuance in between all of them. I feel like the blue is more obvious, especially when the base is a bit darker and brighter. Next up is Virtual Pink. This is from Glam Shop, which is a Polish indie brand. I'm not sure if this is still available anymore, but this one is such a beautiful shade. I love this one. And this one actually kind of looks like, from my angle, a slightly yellowy base to it. So it still looks like it's pink blue, but once it's actually swatched, you see a lot less of that pink base. Next shade is Thusa. This is from Devinah Cosmetics. I think this one flashes a little bit more green straight on versus blue, but I thought I would include it in here. Also very sheer, kind of similar to Virtual Pink. On Wednesdays, we wear pink from Touch of Glam Beauty. Also very, very sheer. This is the Color Me Multi shade. Very, very similar to Virtual Pink for sure. You can see that little bit of that base, which is actually leaning a little bit more orange. So the pink kind of gets lost a little bit, even though it looks pink in the pan. And then here is So Sweet from ShineBySD. And this one is definitely pretty similar, but I think that the Reflect and the Shift is much more like super ultraviolet. Like it's really, really glowy, really beautiful shade. Next up is Delicious, and this is from the Berry Icy palette from Simply Posh. And this one has a very strong magenta base. It's almost dark red leaning. I feel like the blue Reflect is not as obvious in that one. Arcane from the Sorcerer palette from Fantasy Cosmetica. This one does feel squishy. Very, very similar to some of the previously swatched shades. You can definitely see the pink base. That feels very cooler tone. This is Flute à Corset from the Nomad Cosmetics Fête de Provence. And this one actually, I see peach in there. It's got a bit more of a peachy base rather than pink base, but it kind of looked pink in the pan. And I do feel like you can see that it's pinky, but it definitely has kind of tendency to look a little more peachy. ACI 11 from the Remastered Plain Jane palette from Adept Cosmetics. I don't think this one is available anymore, but I did want to swatch it in here. Definitely more so similar to the Utopian Dream shade, Spotlight, as well as Glazier's Mark from Clionadh, but much more of a lighter pink. And then the last shade for this comparison is Forget Me Not from the Pastel Garden palette from Bella Beaute Bar. And this one actually, it definitely does flash blue, but it's pretty subtle, and the pink is almost like a really light cream pink. So here's the second set of comparisons. So those are all the pink blue duochromes I could find in my collection. Let me know what color you would like to see next in a dedicated comparison video. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you enjoy this kind of content, I will put up some of my other videos that are similar to this one up on the screen. And thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.